Hello boys and girls, my name is Michael SK and welcome back to the Eden of Grisaia. So in the last episode, we saw something interesting. We encountered something a little interesting. Yuji was reunited with his sister, who is also not his sister, but instead his sister's brain, but as a computer. Actually, you know what? It's really confusing, but Kazuki is now the Thanatos system, which is complicated in itself. And the fact that she is the Thanatos system, or a system in general, is also confusing. The last episode was just really confusing, but regardless, Kazuki in a way is still alive, which is awesome. And I'm sorry my reaction in the last episode wasn't really great, but I stated in the end of the last episode I was already spoiled, but whatever. We saw that Kazuki was still alive and that she was acting as the dubbed professor in the basement, the sort of secretive person, and also she is the Thanatos system. So now that that is over and done with, we have an idea of what will happen with Yuji. Apparently he has to assassinate the terrorists. He has to get rid of Heath Oslo. But I don't know if that's going to go down right. It probably isn't. But I think we're going to be rejoined with Sakaki right now as we are on a train. And she did go and meet Robbie, so I'd assume she is riding a train home. I completely forgot what the chapter is called, but it was something nice. I want to look at it, actually. We are in As the Day Flows By. Very nice chapter name right there. As the sun outside the window sinks slowly to the west, casting long beams of reddish light across the train's interior, Sakaki Yumiko was riding back in the direction of her dormitory, ruminating on the words of Jimmy Okada, or Robbie. Yumiko's personality could be charitably described as reserved. The conversation with Jimmy, a man who was colorful to a degree that likely caused difficulties in his everyday life, had taken a significant toll on her psyche. It wasn't easy for an introvert to converse with a shamless pervert, basically. I don't know if that's supposed to say shameless, but whatever. Her life bar had gone down so rapidly that she might as well have been walking through a dungeon covered in poisoned tiles. Even so, she'd gained enough information to justify the cost. She now knew where Kazumi Yuji was. However, it would be difficult to see him, let alone rescue him. He doesn't even want to be rescued. And this was the primary cause for Yumiko's current brooding. Of course, it was an open question whether the words of this man who called himself Jimmy could even be trusted in the first place. A plan to introduce the Echelon system into Japan, if that's how you'd say that. A project to cultivate cloned super soldiers. To be perfectly honest, it all sounded perfectly absurd. Well, a lot of things that this game has been throwing at us are quite absurd. Were she to consult an investment advisor, they'd undoubtedly inform her she was being scammed somehow. And above all else, there was the possibility that Kazumi Yuji himself no longer had any intention of returning to Mihama Academy. Why was he so utterly devoted to serving his nation? Was there some compelling reason for this stubborn loyalty that they simply weren't aware of? In the face of this seemingly hopeless situation, what could they possibly do? I wonder if this is how Kazumi-kun felt when he first learned of our circumstances. Perhaps he had brooded over their problems too, but what had been his ultimate conclusion? As someone who'd been saved by Kazumi Yuji, Yumiko knew the exact answer to that question. Hell yeah. Remove the word impossible from your dictionary. You'll never make anything happen until you stop using it. Another favorite saying of his: there was a practical limit to what a group of mere students could possibly accomplish, but even so, to give up before they'd even tried would mean they hadn't really changed a bit. Having reached this conclusion, Yumiko looked up through the train window, allowing herself to picture Kazumi Yuji's face in the sky above. In response to this rhetorical question, the Yuji in the sky smirked slightly. Ha ha ha. Simple-minded as ever, Sakaki. She's getting upset by her own imagination, alright. Among her other talents, Sakaki Yumiko possessed a remarkable ability to irritate herself with persecutory fantasies. I felt like I said something wrong there, but however, by this moment, her mind was already made up. She didn't know exactly what she could do or how far she could go, but that also meant that there was merit in giving it a try. First of all, she'd hurry back to the dorm and consult the others. She'd tell them everything, of course, but given the gravity of the situation, there was no need to involve anyone with a future ahead of time. Should any of them join, and solely because everyone else was participating, they'd definitely come to regret it. And anyone not fully devoted to the cause might very well prove to be more of a hindrance than an asset. If necessary, I'll even act alone. Yes, perhaps that would be for the best. He he he. Wait for me, Kazumi-kun. I'll save you no matter what. Tee-hee, hoo-hee. Doesn't sound like laughing at all. Perhaps the lactic acid her body had secreted, was beginning to take an effect on her brain. As she gazed up at the sky with a faint smile on her lips and something like delirium in her eyes, Yumiko was suddenly struck by the sense that someone was watching her. Who's there? The hairs on the back of her neck standing up, Yumiko turned and looked around the car, but couldn't find anyone who seemed to be staring at her. Is someone following me? Looks like we're done riding the train. Eventually, the train rumbled into Mishima Cape Station. The moment its doors opened, Yumiko hurried out onto the station platform, as if to escape from her own queasy sense of anxiety. On the platform itself, there were a number of businessmen and housewives who'd disembarked from the train on the opposite track, but none of them appeared to be paying her any mind. Just to be on the safe side, she walked in the opposite direction from the gates everyone was heading for, and pretended to fish for change in her pockets by the station's ticket machines. But once she left the platform itself, there was practically no one to be seen. Was it just my imagination? As she furrowed her brow and carefully observed her surroundings, Yumiko thought she could hear the voice of Irisu Makina ringing in her ears. Ah. Wow. She's getting really upset by her own imagination. Yumiko knew that her mind was merely converting her own persecution complex into auditory hallucinations, but she still couldn't help getting angry. Uggo was one thing, but fugly was a bridge too far. In any case, she had no need of an admonition from her mental machina. Yumiko was well aware that this persistent oversensitivity to the gazes of others was one of her flaws. Letting out a long, soft sigh, she reflexively reached into her pocket, but her fingers found nothing. She'd left her box cutter in her dormitory room. To Yumiko, that small knife was something like a security blanket. Simply knowing she had it with her helped her to maintain her emotional stability. There wasn't much meaning in the fact that she'd left it behind. Honestly, she hadn't given the decision any real thought. Since arriving at a deep mutual understanding with Kazumi Yuji, she'd been forgetting to bring that box cutter with her on a fairly frequent basis. Whenever she was startled by its absence, she could simply turn to her side, and Yuji would usually be there. But right now, she had neither knife nor Yuji. Suddenly feeling rather uneasy, Yumiko once again glanced around the platform, by now nearly empty of passengers. She saw a businessman on a bench reading a paperback, a university student swaying to the music in his headphones, and a high schooler pouting as she studied her cell phone. None of them seemed to be paying any attention to her. Yeah, maybe. She thought her box cutter dependency cured, but perhaps she'd suffered something of a relapse. Trying to convince herself that this was the cause of her paranoia, Yumiko shook her head and began to make for the ticket gates. Uh-oh. Something's gonna happen here. In that moment, stepping firmly up the station stairs, Yumiko didn't yet realize that the platform's surveillance camera had silently turned to follow her movements. Maybe she is being watched, just not up close. Well, I guess technically could be up close, but physically from afar.
お疲れ様ってそうじゃなくてさ、なんか情報は得られたの？まあ、労力に見合う程度にはといったところかしら。バラバラに質問されても面倒だからみんなを集めてもらえる？
今から説明するわ。
うん、わかった。あ、榊さんお腹は空いてる？晩ご飯は？
How did I know that she was gonna suggest dinner?
お願いできる？できればお蕎麦以外のもので。
うん、わかった。じゃあみんな呼んでくるからちょっと待ってて。
It's nighttime now. First, she found Makina asleep on the sofa in the third-floor laundry room, still clutching a portable game console, and shook her awake. Next, she discovered Sachi vacantly gazing up at the sky like a pitcher who'd just given up on a walk-off home run in the bottom of the ninth. Alright, and with some effort managed to get her attention. Finally, as she began to boil water in a large pot in her room, Meikyuu shuffled sluggishly through the door.
なんか食べるものない？
And proceeded to beg for food with all the dignity of a starving, droop-whiskered alley cat. In the end, it took a good 30 minutes after Yumiko's return to the dorm for Amane to round up the others and prepare a quick meal for everyone.
お蕎麦はやめてって言ったのに。
お蕎麦じゃなくておうどんだよ。
麺は麺じゃない。
ご飯がないと飯食った気にならないチルチルのためにおにぎりもあるのよ。これを食べよ。あとエビ。
そういうあんたはエビばっか食べてないで野菜も食べなさいよ。ほら緑色のやつ。
ふむ、私の名前はピーマン。所属部隊は緑黄色野菜。終戦後の最終階級は大尉だ。
なんか喧嘩強そうなピーマンだね。
In the dorm's lobby, which currently served as their operational conference room, Yumiko spoke to the others of the information she gained. She told them of the plan to introduce Echelon into Japan, and of the project for the creation of cloned super soldiers. In the 30 minutes it had taken for Amane to prepare dinner, Yumiko had managed to organize all of her intelligence fairly well. But with every word she now spoke, she felt as if its credibility was fading. Rattled by the absurdity of her own claims, she found it increasingly difficult to explain them clearly. The more hurried and voluble, she grew, the more she felt like a desperate liar attempting to deceive her audience.
エシュロンですか。それは初めて聞くサメですね。
I don't know if it's actually Echelon or Echelon, but whatever.
いや、サメじゃないし。なんでサメだと思った？
Oh, it's all sharks with Sachi.
サメでないとすれば一体。
通信傍受型諜報活動網のことよ。で、その辺の説明は長くなるから各自で調べてちょうだい。
まあとにかくです。そのジミーさんという方の言葉をどこまで信じるかという意味では、ネット上で虚構の情報を集めていた状況とあまり変化はありませんね。
Oh, this Jimmy, or Robbie, is definitely trusting. We can definitely trust him for what he is saying. And plus, he actually really did know where Yuji was. He knew who Yuji was, and he knows where he is currently. He can be trusted.
でも、そのジミーとやらはどっかのスパイなんでしょ？
Come on, he worked in the military.
元諜報員ね。というか、そこを疑い始めるとキリがないし、それに彼は一応風見くんの友人だそうよ。
Yeah, back in the good old days.
なんだろう。情報は少しずつ固まってきているはずなのに、なんだか落ち着かないっていうか、ますます不安定になっていく感じ。
この感覚はプリンに似ている。
は？またわけのわかんないことを。
私が昔入ってた病院ってな、朝ごはんにはヨーグルト、お昼ごはんにはプリンがついてきたのな。
That sounds terrible.
で、私はプリンのこととか何も知らずにうめえって食ってたのよさ。そしてそんな純真で無邪気なマキナを一つの真実が衝撃となって襲いかかる。 いつものようにろくに飯も食わずにプリンばっかり食ってた私に飯を運んできた看護師が何の悪気もなくこう言った。プリンは卵でできているのよと。
Okay.
卵。次の瞬間、手にしたスプーンを取り落とすほどの衝撃がマキナの心に稲妻のごとく走ったのよ。
I really don't know where Machina is going with this.
なんでよ。だって卵なのよ。卵といえば目玉焼きとか卵焼きとか、なんかそんな味付けて焼きました的なプリミティブなものを想像するじゃんね。ところがだ、今我が小中にあるプリンを見ろ。なんだこの物体は。卵の面影なんてどこにもないじゃないのよさ。卵、それはひよこの元、いわば生命の塊。それをこうまで滑らかに改造してしまう人間の業、罪深き人工食物、それがプリン。
つまりマキちゃんはプリンが卵でできてることが怖かったってこと？
怖かったっていうか、卵っていう有機物をここまで無機質に変えちゃうことへの気持ち悪さっていうか、得体の知れない不快感があったというか。
Again, I ask, why is this being brought up?
でもあんたプリン食べるじゃん。そりゃこの年になってみりゃプリンの作り方も知ってるし、見栄えを良くしたひよこの塊を食ってるような不快感も今はないのよ。結局何が言いたいのよ。
Yes, I would too like to know.
なぜわからん。
No!
要は今私たちが抱える言葉にしがたい不快感は無知から来る思考の齟齬に遠因しているということね。
そうよ、そう言ってるじゃんけ。
言ってないわよ。
つまりな、プリン黄色いね。黄色いってことは卵？でも常識で考えて卵がこんな風になっちゃうものだけど、栄養士の資格持ってる看護師が卵だよって言ってるし、やっぱ卵？いやいや、ノンノン。今の私たちってプリンの黄色さに疑問を持って、ちょっと信じられないけど、これってやっぱ卵ですかと博識な看護師に問うている子供の状態なんじゃねえの？
信じられないと疑うのは子供だけで、大人は皆常識として知っているのではないかということ？
プリンは卵だと言い張る看護師を疑って嘘つくなと糾弾するのは簡単なのよ。でも真実を知るためには固定観念の排除から始めるべきなんじゃねと思うのよ。
考古学とか正解の見えない学問では、まずは仮説を真実として組み立てるのと同じように、新たな発見があったら書き換えていく方法を取るということか。
それがベストとは言えませんが、現状ではモアベターといったところでしょうか。
何にせよ、お兄ちゃんの居場所が分かったのならすぐに行動しようよ。
Well, I don't know if that's the brightest idea.
どうやって？
仮に風見雄二は市ヶ谷の地下に監禁されているという情報を信用したとして、そこから先はそれこそ私たちにはどうすることもできないわ。
そんなもん金と権力に物を言わせて奪い返すのよさ。
私もあなたも親との縁が切れた時点でお金も権力も当てにはできないわ。
Good point.
ならば気合と根性で。
Now we all know that doesn't do anything.
その連合軍を恐るるに足らずみたいな大本営的な考え方はやめなさい。
それに風見さんの意思を確認する前に行動するのはさすがに気が引けます。
情けない。お兄ちゃんがさらわれてから私たちがしたことなんて飯食ってばっかじゃないのよさ。
kinda true.
時期尚早を口にするだけの作戦参謀。命令がなければ動くこともできないメイド。疑問と否定しか重ねない金髪。これが栄誉あるミハマの学生の姿なのか。
Yes.
ついでに声がでかいだけの無力な子供も付け加えておきなさいよ。なんだよ。
ほらもうご飯食べてる時に喧嘩しないの。
そういうあまねはずっと黙ってるけど、あんたはどう思うのよ。
私の意見は変わらないし、今ここであえて意見は出さないかな。
今はユージを信じて待つ。それだけ？
待つだけで終わる女になるつもりはないってのも追加で。
それは私も同意見です。風見さんの命令を待っているだけで終わるつもりはありません。
でも今はどんな行動を起こすにせよ、あまりにも情報不足ね。敵情も知らされぬままルンガ飛行場の奪還に向かった一木支隊や川口支隊がどうなったか、それはあなたも知っているでしょ、イリスさん。あなたの憤る気持ちもわかるわ。けれどこの問題はすでに学生の立ち入る領域ではないのも事実。こんな時多くの実践を経験した風見くんならあなたに何て言うかしらね。
マキナ、もっと臆病に生きろって言うと思う。
慎重に生きるだけではダメ。臆病に生き残れ。生きてさえいれば次がある。玉砕は歴史だけしか残さない。今私の出せる結論はそれで全てよ。
いつまで我慢すればいいの？
その時期は私が責任を持って決めるわ。
じゃあ我慢する。っていうかうざくてごめんよ。ユミちゃんのおかげでちょっと頭冷えたのよさ。ありがとう。
Under these circumstances, the girl Machina had been a year ago would have bitten her lip, turned sulkily away, and stalked out of the room without even trying to hide her childish displeasure. But today, she had offered to be patient, then taken a step back to evaluate her own behavior. She'd even apologized for her rudeness. Without a doubt, she'd grown as a person. It was pleasantly surprising to see her behave so maturely, but it also made Amane sad to realize how quickly the girl had grown. Without really meaning to, she'd reach out and patted Machina on the head. Nobody really wanted to talk about being patient, but they hadn't even reached a consensus on how to proceed, much less developed a plan. There was no choice but to grind their teeth and remain on the sidelines. It was hard to imagine things would change abruptly in a day or two. None of them could shake an awful anxious feeling. They might well end up sitting here in Mihama living their ordinary student lives until it was too late. What's more, they had the sense that someday they might look back on their inaction and say it was for the best. Kazumi Yuji would be gone. Nothing more, nothing less. Things would return to the way they were before his arrival. It really was as simple as that. Their normal lives would go on undisturbed, and eventually a day might come when they could reminisce about their former classmate with smiles on their faces. However, clinging to the word might would be nothing but escapism. The outcome could just as easily be a lifetime full of bitter regret. And above all else, the idea of letting the hope they'd gained in this place slip through their fingers was far more painful than any of them had expected. Irisu Machina, at first stunned by Yuji's disappearance, was now lashing out in evident sadness and vexation. She was clearly in an increasingly unstable emotional condition. Matsushima Michiru, irritated by her own powerlessness, couldn't even take it out on anyone else, and for all her frustration, she lacked the courage to stand up and throw caution to the wind. Komine Sachi, for her part, was acting as cheerfully as ever, but sometimes she'd stop moving and stare off into the distance, like a toy whose batteries had run dry. And Suo Amane, knowing full well that Yuji wasn't around, continued to make his share of every meal, as if it were some kind of ritual. None of them could fully hide their anxiety. If their eyes met and their mouths opened, they couldn't help talking about Yuji, and so everyone said nothing, and time flowed quietly by. Perhaps they'd have to live in silence for now. Perhaps time was the only thing that could heal their wounds. It was certainly an option. If they could all just forget Kazami Yuji, that would be the ideal solution. Sakaki Yumiko was observing her fellow students in a detached manner, but she too could only wait quietly for the hours to pass. Damn, dude. It really does suck, honestly. In a city like this, densely packed with metal and concrete, the heat of a summer day lingers well after sunset. Today, the seated businessmen on their way home from work pushed their way sluggishly through the hot, stagnant air. By the time Tachibana Chizuru reached the Kushiyaki shop, which was her destination, the collar of her blouse was clinging uncomfortably to her sweaty skin. Passing through the rope curtain at the entrance, she stepped inside to the sound of the pathos-laden Anka ballad. Whatever. The place was fairly full, but it didn't take long to spot the shaggy-headed blonde she had traveled so far to see. Ooh.
いえ、こちらこそ急にお呼び立てして申し訳ありません。それは構いませんが、こんなところで飲んでていいんですか？今はお忙しいのでしょう？いいんです。どうせもうクビですから。
What?
またしても栄転という名の左遷です。というか、もはや更迭かもしれませんね。一方的な解任です。今回の件に関しても、私がプランの概要を知らされたのは最終決定会議の席上でしたし、会議の最中に有事宛てに送ったメールがブロックされた時点で手の施しようがありませんでした。そのまま私は会議の席上で拘束、退席を強いられて、その後の風見有事の処遇に関する審議に私は参加できませんでした。というか、確実に反対意見を挙げるであろう反対派筆頭の私を意図的に退席させるのが目的だったのでしょう。今でこそこうしてのんびりしていますが、じきに私も職権凍結と身柄を拘束されます。
Well, that all sounds shitty.
風見有事は完全に私の手を離れてしまいます。
This shit's just getting worse. Once her agent was taken away from her, Harudera had no way of getting him back. Ever since taking him in as a child, she treated the boy like family. The pain of his loss was intense and multifaceted, whatever. Tracing the rim of her empty or half-empty beer glass with a finger, she chose her next words carefully.
風見有事はもう美浜学園には戻れないかもしれません。
Yeah, that's probably how it's gonna be.
いえ、おそらくかなりの高確率で戻れないでしょう。
I mean, there's also the fact that Mihama Academy isn't going to be around anymore, right?
そうですか。ですよね。
There wasn't much anyone could do about that. Given his unique position, it had always been difficult to provide Yuji with the life of an ordinary student. He was a piece of national defense equipment, to be returned immediately whenever his country deemed it necessary. Now that she'd been removed from her position as his case officer, even Harudera no longer knew what Ichigaya intended to do with Yuji. She could have attempted to gather information, but at this point, he was under the oversight of the 1st Intelligence Division. That presented a serious obstacle, given that she belonged to the 2nd Division. While they belonged to the same organization, Surf and Circe were as mutually I cannot speak today, guys, I'm sorry. Agnostic, there we go, as the Imperial Army and Navy had ever been.
それに、風見くんが帰ってきたとしても、美浜はもう平行です。様々な理由があって社会に馴染めなくなってしまい、身動きすら取れなくなった子供たちに可能性に向けての挑戦というか、冒険をする場を用意したくて立ち上げたのが私立美浜学園です。冒険ですか。冒険というのは 言葉のイメージと反するかもしれませんが、ある程度安全が確保されて初めて成立するものです。安全が確保できていない冒険はただの自殺です。最後は大人が責任を取るから好きにやりなさいと言える環境、それがこれまで私が必死になって作り上げてきた理想の学校なんです。
When she was a child, Chizuru had been tormented by the knowledge of her own powerlessness. There was a limit to what hard work could achieve, and it proved to be far lower than she'd initially imagined. Still, she believed that anything would be possible when she was a grown-up, and now that she was a full-fledged adult, she'd wanted very badly to offer the kind of perspective and advice that could have helped her to young people whose ambitions might otherwise be frustrated. Eventually, she'd come to view it as her life's work.
でも結果は平行です。所詮理想は実現できないから理想なんですかね。結局私はあの子たちに何もしてあげられませんでした。今でもそれだけが心残りです。立花さん。
Just as the air between the two women was growing even heavier with emotion, an incongruously cheerful voice broke into their conversation.
ご注文はお決まりですかにゃん。
Mystery waitress. Ah, I wonder who could this... Who in the world could this be? I'm actually curious.
にゃん。
What?
ああ、すいません。素で間違えました。ご注文お決まりでしたらどうぞ。
Oh, it's the same woman from the other place. Okay.
私は生ビールの中ジョッキのおかわりと。私は紀州南高梅の梅酒を。
あり方どうされますか？
そうだで。
受けたまわりました。
あとは海鮮サラダとこの串盛り2人前と手羽先を3人前と卵焼きとお新香を。とりあえずはそんなところで。
受けたまわりました。
And this woman is everywhere. There was something odd about the tone of this waitress's voice, among other things. As the girl sauntered off, Harudeta furrowed her brow dubiously.
なんか変な店員さんですね。にゃんって言ってましたよ。
It's all related to her other place of work.
なんだろう、あの店員さん、なんかどこかで見たことがあるような気が。
This wasn't deja vu exactly. It felt more like the girl resembled someone Harudeta already knew. But who could that possibly be?
気のせいかしら。どうかしましたか？いえ、美浜が平行になるお話でしたっけ？榊さん、この場合は由美子さんの方の榊さんですけど、彼女の介入で母体である盗品の構造に大きな変革がありましたからね。法人としての名義は千鶴さんのお父様に移譲されるんですよね。そうですね。法人審議会の判断では県知事の預かりとすることになっていますが、やっぱり問題はお金なんですよね。学校法人榊学園は資産凍結状態。理事会や雇われ幹事も盗品系列の人間ですし、施設運営資金に難ありとなれば解散するしかありません。もともと美浜は由美子さんのために設立されたような学校ですし、収益の見込みが立たなければ資金援助を申し出る人もいません。私の方でも各方面に相談はしていますが、残余財産の処分費、つまりは施設の解体費すら出せないとのことです。
So it's just gonna sit there?
今のところは成立登記簿の所在地を変更することでごまかしていますけど、このままではいずれ美浜の学校施設は国庫に帰属することになります。
お待たせしました。生ビールと梅酒になります。
はい、ビールはこっちで。
海鮮サラダと手羽先と進行です。こちらサラダの鶏皿となっておりますので、よろしかったらどうぞ。
はい、どうも。
串と卵の方すぐにお持ちしてよろしいでしょうか。
少し時間を置いてもらえる？
受けたまわりました。ごゆっくりどうぞ。
なんかやっぱりあの店員さん変。
Who the hell is she? Like, what is her real identity?
可愛い子じゃないですか。アルバイトさんですかね。
Does she have something to do with the core story, though?
それで結局美浜は現状ではどうにもなりませんね。美浜を再建するぐらいなら新しく登記した方が早いぐらいです。まあ施設を凍結したまま数年眠らせておいて、埋め立て地周辺の開発が今より進めばまた再開することもあるかもしれませんね。それだとどう急いでも10カ年計画になりますね。ですね。施設の問題は先送りとして、美浜がなくなってしまったら学生たちはどうなるのですか？
We sell them.
一応あと2ヶ月間は在学可能ですが、伸ばしに伸ばしても来年の3月には全員除籍になります。
Wow. You have to expel them. You have to state it like that.
そうなる前に親元に帰る子もいれば、自分の力で新しい生活を始める子もいるでしょうし、新しい施設に移る子もいるでしょう。榊由美子は実家に戻るんですか？榊さんは実家には戻らないと思います。というか、戻ったところで居場所がないというのが正直なところでしょうね。現状で実家へ戻れるのはおそらく周防さんぐらいですかね。風見くんのいなくなった今の美浜に彼女が固執する理由はそれほど多くありませんし。
I have no idea when this is taking place, but has Amane already graduated? Or is this still her final year? Wait, probably the only one of her students I could see returning home. Much reason to linger in Mihama. I think she's still a student. Maybe I'm getting too far ahead of myself, because I remember her being the oldest, or at least the furthest along, out of in the 3 class levels, grades, whatever you want to call them.
彼女が美浜にこだわる理由が残っているとすれば、イリスさんの存在ということになるのでしょうが、イリスさん本人はどうでしょうね。
Yeah, what could happen with Machina?
昔のイリスさんなら周防さんに依存したまま彼女の実家へついていったでしょうが、今は自立ということに明確な目標を持っていますし、おそらくイリスさんは自分の意思で別の施設に編入するんじゃないですかね。全く別の理由ですけど、松島さんも多分別の施設へ行くことになるんじゃないですかね。彼女の場合はまだ精神的に不安定な部分が多いので。
Yeah? Maybe?
そういう意味でも一番安定しているのは小峰さんなんですけど、でも彼女は純粋すぎるところもあって、学ぶべきことはまだたくさんあります。
Yeah, Sachi really has gotten better, but there's still issues with all of them.
学校を必要とする学生がいるのに学校はない。学ぶ気もない子が遊び半分で通う学校はいくらでもあるというのにね。それで橘さんはこれからどうされるおつもりですか？そうですね、一応父には家に戻って秘書をやれと言われてますが、私はまだ美浜を諦めたわけじゃありませんし、もう少しだけジタバタしてみようかなとは思っていますよ。あまり面倒なことにならない程度にジタバタしてくださると助かります。さあ、それはどうでしょう。それにその言葉は私にではなくあの子たちに言うべきでは。やっぱり
何か企んでますかね。
Oh yeah.
さあどうでしょう。
あなたのところの学生ですよ。
確かに私は先生ですけどね。でも私はあの子たちに教えることよりあの子たちから学ぶことの方が多いような気もします。さまざまな理由で社会に馴染めず弾き出されてしまった子たちですけど、だからこそ一つの目標に向かって結束した時は何をしでかすか分かったものじゃありません。
That's sort of a good point.
おかしな言い方かもしれませんが、あの子たちは逆境慣れしている分他の子より強かったりもします。
Okay, there's no doubt about that one.
特に風見くんと知り合ってからはその傾向が顕著です。悩まない単純さ、待っているだけでは終わらない行動力、純朴なまでの信念、逃げ出さない勇気、そして転んでもただでは起きない狡猾さ、すべては風見雄二の影響でしょう。
そんな彼女らが何もしないわけがない
Already
と
said
いうこ
yeah.
とですかね。
And she just explained that, yeah, they're not ordinary students no more.
どうでしょうね。案外何もしないことが一番いいという結論にたどり着いている可能性もありますし、なんとも言えませんね。
武装した上で校舎に立てこもって籠城戦とか。
まあやろうと思えばできなくはないでしょうね。あの子たちなら。
勘弁してくださいよ。
いっそのこと全員身柄を拘束してあなたの会社の構成員として再教育しますか？
Why would you even suggest such a thing?
それこそ勘弁してください。これ以上会社に問題児が増えたら私は過労死しますよ。
どんなことになるかは私にも分かりませんが、取れる責任はできるだけ私が取ります。
はあ、私もそれなりの覚悟をしておく必要はありそうですね。
What?
お待たせしました。串盛りと卵焼きになります。
もうお料理来ちゃいました。
ご注文は以上でお揃いでしょうか？
ええ、ありがとう。
ではごゆっくりどうぞ。
話に夢中でまだ乾杯もしてませんでしたね。
ですね。では若者たちの未来に
乾杯。
Cheers, my dude. Oh shit, back at Ichigaya. Oh man. Well, we gotta end it here. We are way over the mark for this episode. So we are now on internal politics. Ooh. Doesn't that just sound entertaining? We are 11% done. I feel like we've still gotten nowhere. God damn, this is going to be a long one. Alright. Thank you for watching, guys. Sorry that this one was long, but it's whatever. At least I'm not stopping in the middle of context anymore. I hated doing that. Alright, thank you so much for watching. If you liked, like. If you want to watch more, subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy.